Yes, the Kasanovians. All right, boys. In this one, I'm going to give you a ancient Kasanovian, tried and tested blueprint for overcoming your fears of talking to a beautiful woman so you can overcome your perceived lack of self-worth. You can finally feel in control of your dating life rather than watching all your friends settle down and have children, thinking, oh, is there something wrong with me? I'm just going to give it all to you. I don't have a course to sell you. I'm not trying to funnel you into a $50 a month school community. I've just got one really expensive product. It's called the Entourage, and I don't expect you to join it. So let me position the camera because we're gonna go deep in this one. We're gonna go super deep. This is the sort of stuff that most bozos online are gonna try and charge you $995 for. Oh, buy my course. I'm gonna teach you how to overcome your approach anxiety annihilator. Fuck that shit. I give away information and I charge money for implementation. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit you boys with as much valuable, tried and tested information as possible to help you overcome that fear, right? Because every time that you see a woman at the moment, you're thinking too many steps ahead, you're experiencing failure in advance, and you're rejecting yourself on her behalf. And if this continues, golden opportunities are going to keep going past you, and you're going to feel less and less of a man because you're like, oh shit, I should be able to do this. Why can't I do it? Is there something wrong with me? You get paralyzed with fear. Then you go back online, you watch more content, you consume more information. But the problem is, most of the content that you're consuming online is actually terrible. Right? Like, I've been in your position. Like 4 years ago, when I first started Daytime Cold Approach, I went online. So first of all, I saw a guy approaching in Barcelona, and I'd always known about day game, pickup, whatever, but I always saw it as this sleazy, weird discipline because I didn't want to become a pickup artist, right? I just wanted to be a cool guy who could attract women, right? That's all I wanted to do. So I watched a couple of videos, I went out, I tried it. This was during the pandemic in Leeds. And then I started to go deeper down the day game rabbit hole, like I think a lot of us do. And what started to happen to me after a couple of weeks was I started to become infatuated with theory. And I wanted to just keep learning more and more and more. But what I found was a lot of the advice online, it was made by losers for losers, right? So I was learning at the time the London day game model, right? And if anybody's ever like studied that model, you'll know how robotified it actually makes your conversation. So I remember being in Leeds, learning the skill, thinking that in order to get better, I needed to learn all of these lines and routines and techniques. So I was learning this London day game model. I remember I was sat in my apartment, I had a pen and paper, and I was writing down like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. So first of all, I need to go over, I need to vibe, I need to stack. Oh, has she hooked yet? Have to wait for the hook. Once she's asked me a question, I then have to transition to the... And I remember going out into Leeds city centre feeling like a robot, feeling like a complete weirdo. I didn't even sound like myself anymore because I was so in my head. My head was just filled with all of this nonsense, all of this jargon, all of this pickup terminology that I felt disconnected to myself, yeah? And it dehumanized the conversations that I was having. So the first thing that I want to make you aware of is you don't need more information. What you lack is implementation. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this as stupidly simple as possible, right? You don't need to learn models. You don't need to learn routines. You don't need to learn clever lines to trick any woman into bed. That's for losers, right? That is purely for losers who feel as though they need to masquerade as something that they're not in the hopes a woman will like them. That's all that is, right? You don't want to be a loser. You just want to be a cool guy who can go over to women in a non-needy way, declare your desire, and if she likes you, she likes you. If she doesn't, that's okay. So all you boys need to focus on when you first want to get started with this is you focus on the first 3 seconds, okay? That's all the focus is when you're first getting started. Don't worry about having long conversations. Don't worry about coming across as playful, as suave, as cool. Don't worry about if you run out of things to say. Don't worry if something that you do say comes off as awkward. Don't worry if you feel a little bit awkward, because I think the issue that guys face is they try and eradicate the feeling that they're feeling, right? So that thing that we call approach anxiety, which is simply resistance to stepping into the unknown. You don't have social anxiety, you just lack practice. Once you've done 100 direct call approaches, approaching women is going to become a lot easier. And once you've done 100, in my experience, that's what it takes to develop proficiency, okay? But when you're first getting started, as well as viewing the rep itself as a reward, so you're action focused rather than outcome dependent, we're going to get onto that a little bit later on. You focus on the first 3 seconds, okay? So let's just imagine you see a girl who you want to talk to. What usually happens is you think of all of the reasons in the world why you shouldn't go over to her. Oh, she's going to reject me. Oh, I'm not tall enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not ripped enough. She's most likely got so many more better options than me. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this is creepy. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And now you start operating like a closet heterosexual, and every woman that you want to talk to, you mentally have already checked out. So those voices are going to be there, okay? I'm no different to you either. I want to make this super clear. I think guys have this skewed impression from content that they've consumed online that people who are making this type of content, me and whoever else is making it, I think they think that we just get to this God level status where we almost don't feel anything anymore. No, whenever I have something that I want to do, whether it's talking to a girl, whether it's doing a live stream like this, whether it's when I used to be a magician, going and performing on stages, I always get that feeling. I feel anxious right now. I feel anxious when I'm making this stream, like I don't get another take, right? I'm like, in my head sometimes, I'm thinking, shit, I hope I get a good flow today. I hope people like this stream. I hope the engagement is good. I hope that I can deliver my message in a coherent way. Like, I've still got that 13-year-old self inside of me, yeah? That scared, lost little boy who just wanted to be wanted, who didn't have any friends, who used to walk around on his own in the playground, who used to hide in the toilets because I was terrified of people seeing that I was on my own. Like, I feel all of those feelings, but now that I've got 15 years of social experience under my belt, what I can say to you is we're not attempting to eradicate that feeling. We're attempting to embrace it. That's the whole point. You don't need to eliminate your approach anxiety. You don't need to get rid of that feeling. That feeling, as far as I'm concerned, is always going to be there. But the more action you take, the less attention you pay to it, right? It's the avoidance which amplifies your anxiety. Action alleviates it, okay? So you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up, right? But don't look at somebody like me and look at the content that I put out there online and think, oh, this guy's always perfect. He has amazing conversations. He doesn't feel any emotions anymore. Oh, he doesn't have the approach anxiety that I'm struggling with. Yes, I do. Admittedly, mine is not as fierce as yours is right now, but the only way I've overcome this is by putting in an ungodly amount of action over the past 15 years. I didn't just hop out the womb being #confident. No, I've built this brick by brick, and you can do it too. But your actions have to align with your ambitions, and you have to stop consuming mindless bullshit content online from guys who, quite frankly, have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, you need to vibe, stack, hook. Oh, you need to push, pull, neg. Like, most of the time, that stuff is not even what you need to hear. It's like stressing about your form when it comes to lifting weights before you've even stepped into the gym. You don't need to focus on the conversational side of things right now. We're just focused on the first 3 seconds. So how do you actually optimize this, right? We're gonna get into like the nitty gritty nuts and bolts here, right? We're gonna like really just gut this so you've got exactly what it is that you need to finally overcome this resistance. So you see the girl, okay? You say in your mind, 3, 2, 1, fuck it, and then let your legs start carrying you, right? You see the girl, you say 3, 2, 1, you count down in your head. Don't count up because you can keep counting. Say 3, 2, 1, say fuck it, because that becomes your anchor word. And the beautiful thing about this is you can do this throughout your entire life. Whenever you feel resistance to do something, whether it's stepping into a cold shower, doing that final set at the gym, waking up, getting out of bed, 3, 2, 1, fuck it. And then the more you actually act after the fuck it, the more you start to connect those neurological pathways in your brain, which triggers the action. Okay, so don't just do 3, 2, 1, fuck it when it comes to approaching women. Do it throughout your entire life. Whenever you've got resistance, whenever your mind wants you to marinate in the matrix of mediocrity, 3, 2, 1, fuck it, and then springboard into action, whether it's lifting the weight, getting out of bed, stepping into the shower, or ideally, approaching the woman. When you're in motion, you'll notice that the anxiety does start to dissipate slightly. Okay, usually what happens when we see a woman, you've probably heard of fight or flight, yeah, that biological defense mechanism. Well, there's another aspect of that hardly anybody talks about. It's fight, flight, and then you've got freeze. And that's what happens to most guys. It's not fight or flight, it's actually freeze, where you feel frozen to the spot. You're in that analysis paralysis where you want to approach, biologically you want to approach, but psychologically you're frozen to the spot. So that's why it's so important that as soon as you see that woman, you say the 3, 2, 1, fuck it, and then you start moving. What did we say before? It's the avoidance which amplifies the anxiety. Action alleviates it. And the action begins before the first word has even been spoken. The action begins when you literally start moving. Okay, so now you're in motion, right? You're in motion. So now you're walking towards the girl. Maybe those voices are getting more fierce. Maybe you're psyching yourself out. Maybe you're gonna be a little bitch and just go over and just be like, and then not say anything. Or maybe you just like do a quick swerve into a Costa coffee because you're like, oh no, I need a coffee first. Like, avoid all that shit, all right? Avoid all that shit. I know it's scary. I understand that. I get it. But we're making progress today, okay? So once you're in motion and you're walking towards her, let's say this is the girl, and let's just say you're there. And dude, at this point, don't even worry about trying to do the perfect stop. Don't do any of that like running around shit. Like it's like, you know, like running around. I used to do that shit. It's absolute bollocks. Anyway, when you're in enough proximity where the girl might be able to hear you, you just want to say, excuse me. Okay? Because as soon as you've said, excuse me, you're going to have captured her attention. And then you don't have a choice but to say something. Okay? So you let your legs do the walking and let your mouth do the talking, right? So you see the girl, you say 3, 2, 1, fuck it. You start moving, just start walking. And as soon as you've got to an appropriate distance where you think she can hear you, just say, excuse me. Then she's going to swivel around. And then just give her the compliment. That's all you need to do. You just need to say, excuse me, I just want to say, you look really nice. And that's it. That's it. You can just say, job well done there. You've done your first direct cold approach. Congratulations. You've just gone from a boy into a man. That's literally what happened with me when I did my first direct cold approach. And dude, I had a decade of social experience behind me because I was a magician for 10 years. I was still shitting myself. And it's normal, it's healthy. You're doing something you've not done before. But I think a lot of guys, myself included, we almost feel as though we should just know how to do this. But I never got taught how to cold approach a woman. My dad never sat down and had a conversation with me and was like, hey son, listen, when you want to go and create an amazing dating life for yourself, go over to a woman, approach her like this, stop her in this way, have this. I never got taught any of that bollocks. Didn't get taught any of it, right? So I think a lot of times we have to understand that we were just dealt a bad hand a lot of the times. Like we weren't taught this stuff. And then the information that we're getting today, it's, oh, be a high value man. You need to be 6 foot, making 6 figures, have a 19-inch schlong, have a, I don't know, fucking Bugatti and all this bollocks, man. And this is why so many guys have mentally checked out, because they think the bar for entry is so high. No, the bar of entry is so fucking low because no one's doing it. Like most guys are swiping their lives away on a screen. They're hanging around grotty nightclubs until 3 a.m. or they're DMing women like a little simp on Instagram. Like if you can be that decentralized Renaissance warrior who says, you know what, I might not be the man that I need to be right now. I might not be perfect. I might have things that I need to work on. Maybe it's my fitness. Maybe it's my finances. Maybe it's insert thing. But I'm just going to show up and I'm going to do the best with what I've got. That is literally what I did 4 years ago. When I did my first direct call approach, I did it in Leeds. in the Marion Centre. It was this Persian girl that I saw outside of the Marion Centre, and then she went inside the Marion Centre. Then I started to get up in my head, be like, oh shit, I don't know if I could do this inside the Marion Centre. I've only watched videos on how to do this on the street. But anyway, I bypassed my own bullshit. I went inside, I said, excuse me. The first time she didn't hear me, she had headphones in. So I got a little bit closer. I said, excuse me again. This time I said it louder. So not only did the girl turn around, but other people in the shopping centre also turned around. So I was like, here we fucking go. She swiveled around. She looked like a rabbit in headlights. Like, what does this guy want? In my mind, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I want. And then she took her headphones out. And I just said, excuse me, I just wanted to say, I saw you out there. You came in here. I just wanted to say you look really good. And she was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, I've got a boyfriend. And then she swiveled, waltzed off into Wonderland. Like, my voice was so crackling. I could feel like whatever that is, anxiety, emotion, rapturous ecstasy, just I could feel it like rising, you know what I mean? I just felt like I was gonna burst. And this is a guy who had a decade of social experience. It was scary as shit for me that first time, but I did it, and that's all the focus was. I just wanted to go out, and I wanted to be able to say to myself, I've done it. Yeah, I'd set the intention. That's so important as well. I do think it's important that you set an intention. So like, set a day and set a time this week, right? So maybe you say to yourself, right, I'm going to go out at 11:30 a.m. this Saturday. I'm going to go into central London. I'm going to find one girl and I'm going to give her a compliment. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to do it. And if you've not done it after the end of those 30 minutes, forget about it. Get on with the rest of your day. You're most likely not going to do it, because you're going to get more and more up in your head after those 30 minutes. So if you've not done it after the end of those 30 minutes, get on with the rest of your day, hit it again another day. Otherwise, you run the risk of just walking around for 5 hours, talking to nobody, wasting your time, wasting your day, and then being one of those guys who's like, oh, cold approach doesn't work. Yeah, dude, it works as long as you do. All this is talking to people. How do you think our parents met? How do you think our ancestors met historically? Talking to people, right? At some point, you're going to need to talk to them. So you might as well do it this way, because once you can cold approach, everything else becomes easier, right? Whether you want to speak to a woman at a bar, if you want to go to nightclubs, if that's your thing, when you're traveling on your own, when you're going to gatherings, networking, improv classes, dance classes, like, we like to, inside of the Entourage, we like to describe cold approach as resistance training for the rest of your social life, okay? So it's like, if you can start off with cold approach, it's like dating on hard mode, and everything else becomes easier in comparison. And then the confidence that you develop by being able to put your balls on the line and go after what you want, it spills over into everything else that you do. You lift harder at the gym, you become more productive at work, you become more vocal at work, you stop taking so much bullshit, you become more assertive, you become more an action taker, more of a risk taker. Look, again, I'm a living example of how this process has completely changed my life. And yeah, but by following what I'm saying here, it's going to have a meteoric impact on you, but you need to transmute information into implementation. So yeah, after I did that first direct call approach, I just felt like a new person. I was like, oh, I've just done it. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was cathartic. It was cleansing. I was like, all right, I've done the first one. And then I went and I did some more. And yeah, that was just a game changer for me. And if it hadn't have been for that first direct call approach, none of this would have happened. You know, like the channel wouldn't have had, anyway, doesn't matter. But it was a precursor to everything else. But set the intention, and then when you do see that girl that you want to talk to, just say 3, 2, 1, fuck it, go over. And then you're viewing the rep as the reward. So I think this is important. Usually when guys want to approach, they place excess importance on the approach itself. So they view every approach as a make or break situation. Like, oh, if I go over to this girl and she gives me an undesirable reaction, that's going to amplify my perceived lack of self-worth. But I think we need to go from a winning mindset to a learning mindset, right? So rather than going out there to win, we go out there to learn. And if you can adopt that mindset, you're going to dissipate the ego, because the purpose of the ego is self-preservation. The purpose of the ego is to be right. And when I'm coaching my guys one-on-one, I've become very nuanced in the art of social dynamics. So it's very interesting that the language guys will use. Sometimes when I'm coaching my high achieving guys one-on-one, they talk from a place of ego. So let's say they see a woman that they want to talk to, they'll pre-frame their approach with, oh, watch me go fuck up this approach. Oh, I bet she's about to reject me. I'm just like, right, dude, before you even go into this approach, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't even realize what you're doing, right? This is purely ego. Oh, watch me go fuck this approach up. And then he goes over and the approach goes terrible. It's like, oh, I told you so. That is pure ego. Again, the purpose of the ego is to be right. It's like, congratulations, dude, you're an unlovable piece of shit. Where do I sign up for that course? Right? We don't even understand, right? All we are is repeated patterns of behavior that we've accepted over time as our identity. And we then solidify the identity that we've established through the language that we use. So if historically you've always sucked with women, you're now, whether it's unconscious or not, you're telling yourself the story that you suck with women, right? But that's just who you've been in the past. Okay, you don't need to stay that way forever, but you do need to be careful with the language that you use. Otherwise, you're going to solidify an identity that you actually don't want. It's Carl Jung who said, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives and we will call it fate. So stop labeling yourself as certain things. Stop saying, I've got approach anxiety. Stop saying, I've sucked with women. Stop saying, I'll never be able to make a change. Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right either way, but it's the belief that follows the action, okay? So when it comes to going over to these women, going from a winning mindset to a learning mindset, especially for those first 100 direct cold approaches that you do. In fact, let's just shorten that gap as well, because maybe 100 just seems like a lot to you right now. Let's just say the first 10. Right, the first 10 approaches that you do, you're not going there to win, you're going there to learn. It's purely you versus you. And if you can reframe the approaches that you're doing, rather than trying to get phone numbers, get dates, get happy endings, rather than going there and putting all these women on a pedestal, trying to get approval and validation because maybe you didn't receive it as a young man, rather than doing all of that, reframe it as the rep is the reward. The achievement is in the attempt. The pleasure is in the pursuit, and the success is in the showing up. So if you can view it as, I'm going to go out today to improve myself as a man. I'm going out there to put my balls on the line and forge a new identity through the fires of adversity. It's like the Roman poet Virgil once said, blessings on your courage, boy. That's the way to the stars. So if you can view this as a courageous act, you are becoming a new person. You are literally rewiring the neurological pathways in your brain. That might be bro science, but I believe it. Even if it's not true, we make it true by believing in it. But something special happens to men who cold approach. And I would actually love to see, like, biologically, neurologically, chemically, what actually goes on inside of us when we are actually cold approaching, because there's no feeling like it. It puts you into what I call godly frequency. If you go out today and you do one direct cold approach and you've never done that before, the eudaimonia that you'll feel is off the charts. It's like, imagine your best ever gym session multiplied by 1,000. I honestly think it's the best natural high that there is. Facing your fears, dive bombing into discomfort, doing what terrifies you. But the reason most guys can't get from like a 0 to a 1 is because of the excess importance they're placing on the approach. Understand, when we place excess importance on something, it creates an emotional imbalance, which then puts us into a state of lack. So imagine you've got a flight to Honolulu next Saturday and you're stressing. You're like, fuck, I need that flight to be on time. That flight, it has to be on time. Usually what happens when we need something, we don't get the result that we want. So it's like, if you're in a place right now where you're like, I need a girlfriend, or even if you're in a place where it's like, I want a girlfriend, or I want this approach to go well, or I want to be liked, usually we get the thing that we don't want because we're placing so much energetic importance on the thing. So I don't like the mindset of being detached from outcome, because I think we always need an outcome to focus on. And that's why I'm saying to you, we reframe what the approach means. The approach is you facing your fear. The approach is you becoming the version of yourself who you actually like. And that's why I say to you boys all the time, this goes so much deeper than day game. All of your insecurities, all of your self-limiting beliefs, all of the things that you choose to shy away from. Cold approach, it holds a mirror up to who you are, and there's nowhere to hide with it. And that's why I view it as active therapy. Yeah, it's like when I'm working with my guys and they've got the money, they've got the penthouse, they've got the nice watches. The streets don't give a fuck, right? The streets are the ultimate equalizer. And this is another thing, before I was saying ignore bad advice online. All of this nonsense of build it and they will come, become a high value man, and beautiful women are going to be throwing themselves at you because some guy in a Bugatti who was trying to sell a shitload of courses told you that was true. Now you believe it, right? Like, what do you believe to be true about the world that isn't? Because there's so much bullshit that you've inherited that has been programmed into your subconscious mind that you're not even aware of, right? What do you believe to be true about the world that isn't? Because right now you might think that to have an amazing dating life, you need to be a high value man who's making 10 billion a year. Dude, the guys inside my network, the Entourage, they already are high value men. They've got the money, they've got the car, they've got the watches. But the reason why they work with me is because when it comes to approaching women, they still feel like the ugly duckling inside. Their internal has not caught up with their external. So it's not what you have, it's who you are. And that's why I say to you, it's not what you say, it's not how you say it, it's who you are when you say it. So it's not about learning lines or learning routines or learning the London day game model. It's growing a big set of balls. That's all that matters in, let's just call it the sexual marketplace, intersexual dynamics. It's about balls, right? If you've got a big set of balls, you're going to do very well for yourself. And it's not saying don't work on yourself. It's not giving you license to be lazy. It's giving you permission to be free and just become more of a critical thinker. Like, rather than just mindlessly consuming content, become a connoisseur of content and go out, test it. Don't just blindly follow what people are saying. Don't just blindly follow what I'm saying. I'm telling you what's worked for me and what is working for my clients. I don't know if it's going to work for you. You need to go out there for yourself. You need to go out there and try it. You need to do the approaches. You need to get the feedback. You need to record the audio of your conversations when you become more developed so you can actually see what your personal sticking points are, because you might have a lot of bad habits at the moment. But we're all operating on our own timeline, okay? So optimizing those first 3 seconds. So going over, walking, saying excuse me, capturing the woman's attention. And then when you have got her attention, just giving her a compliment, right? Remember, no one's allergic to a compliment. I think oftentimes we think the world is a scary place and we're not allowed to go over to women. It's like Zan Perion always says, beauty needs a witness. And I've loved that. That's one of the mantras that I live by. Beauty needs a witness. I think in an age of robotification, of hyper-digitalization, we're more disconnected than ever before. We've got the revolution of AI, right? And everyone's like, oh, AI is going to take over the world. The 2 areas that AI is never going to replace is relationships and community. Yeah, relationships and community, the ability to connect with another human being, like literally intertwine souls through face-to-face interaction, creating these full-bodied relationships. That's the special shit right there. You can have all the money in the world, you can have the penthouse, you can have the watches. If you ain't got people who love you, and if you don't have people in your corner who would do anything for you, fuck your money, fuck your penthouse, fuck your watches. Love is the greatest currency. It actually is. I'm learning that more and more. That's what we all want. Everyone just wants to feel that sensation of love. And even all of these hyper masculine commentators online, all this like rah rah rah. Usually those are the most insecure people out there. Usually those people, they just need a fucking cuddle. So yeah, going from a learning mindset, going from a winning mindset to a learning mindset will go a long way in appeasing that resistance that you feel. Okay, so if you can start to anchor things with 3, 2, 1, fuck it. And I think that this is actually really important as well. Celebrate all of your wins along the way. Okay, I think oftentimes we are crushingly cruel commentators of ourselves. The conversations we have in our own heads, oftentimes they're very negative conversations. Like, dude, first of all, if you're watching this content, that's a win. If I planted a seed in your head during these streams where now you're actually considering going out there to approach, that's a win. Because now you're awake. Now you're no longer an NPC who's sleepwalking his way through life. He's going to wake up when his best years are behind him. You're no longer an NPC who is leaving his dating life up to algorithms and chance. Now you are becoming an active player rather than a static spectator. Then you go out there with the intention of approach. And let's just say you set the intention to do your approach at 11:30 a.m. this Saturday, and let's say you bottle it. Right? Let's just say you don't do any approaches, because this is normal as well, by the way, especially if you try to do all this on your own, right? And the amount of emotional pressure you're putting on yourself right now to be perfect, that's a big reason why you're unable to do it, because of all this pressure that you're putting on yourself. Dude, when I was first learning magic at 13 years old, it took me 2 months of watching David Blaine on YouTube to finally pluck up the courage to approach my first ever spectator in a park in the Lake District and actually perform magic. For the first 2 months, I was so stuck in my head. I would walk around on my own for hours around Barrow Furnace in the Lake District, thinking about approaching people. I felt like an absolute weirdo, right? I had a deck of cards in my hand. I wanted to pretend to be David Blaine. I was lucky if sometimes I walked past 5 people. That was a busy day in Barrow. And every time I saw somebody, it was the same old thing again. Oh no, like I would just get all those sensations which are coming up inside of me, which is quite a lot for a 13-year-old to try and understand. But like I was doing some deep psychoanalysis at myself at 13. I was like, I wonder why I feel this way. I wonder how I can overcome it. I wonder how David Blaine did it. If I was David Blaine, what would I do, right? So this is why when I work with my guys one-on-one, I see my 13-year-old self inside of them. I understand exactly what people need, right? That's the 15 years of social expertise which I can give to my people. So go easy on yourself. That doesn't mean don't push yourself. No, I need you to push yourself, but be your own biggest cheerleader and stack those wins along the way. All right. So even if you go out with the intention of approaching somebody, maybe you genuinely just don't see anybody. I know actually that's a bullshit excuse. You can approach a middle-aged lady. You can just go over to like a hashtag MILF shake and just say, hey, listen, you look amazing. Have a good day. That's the best place to start. That's how I started. I did my first direct cold approach with like the Persian woman, and I was like, oh, I want to start approaching the middle-aged ladies. I mean, to be fair, I did have like a mummy fetish, so that was probably why as well. But I prioritized a lot of my efforts when I was first learning this on older women. And that's why actually a lot of my MILF videos blew up online. I think I rewrote the narrative of what guys were actually into. Like when I first got started with cold approach, it was always like, oh no, like having good game is when you can pull younger girls. And it's like, dude, for me, having good game is getting what you want. That's what game is. It's learning how to get what you want. So if you're into MILFs, fucking good luck to you. Like, there's no rules to any of this shit, right? So do what you want to do. So yeah, you can go out and you can prioritize. Just find like one middle-aged woman in your city and just go over and just say, hey, listen, this is really out the blue. I would have regretted this, but you caught my eye and you look amazing. And the beautiful thing actually about like practicing on middle-aged women is they've got skin in the game. They can take it. Like you can have a lot more playful conversations. They just get it. Like they're just a lot of fun to talk with. You can just type in Kristian Kasanovian MILF, and that'll show you all of the wonderful Kasanovian classics. But yeah, if what was I saying? Sometimes my mind goes blank. That happens in conversations as well. By the way, whenever you're speaking with a pretty girl and your mind just goes blank, just own it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a robot. Just say, hey, listen, I just had a massive brain fart. Like I was about to say something, but you look too good, you distracted me. What were we talking about again? Like, you know, having more of that state transparency, not being perfect, but just being progressive, just showing up. Yeah, just showing up. Fuck perfection, just show up. But yeah, if you can prioritize middle-aged women and then celebrating these wins, yeah, so that's what I was saying, celebrating your wins, right? So even if you have bottled an approach, still celebrate the fact you went out with that intention. I think what's important is understanding, okay, why didn't I approach? Like, what was stopping me? Maybe you were trying to approach in a really busy area. So maybe central London is not the best place for you to do your first direct call approach. So maybe next time you could go to a park. Maybe you could go to Hyde Park where it's more chilled. Or maybe you could go over to South Bank where it's more laid back. It's easier to have chilled conversations rather than the hectic streets of busy London. Just as a pre-frame, I don't recommend anybody goes to Oxford Street or Regent Street. I just think you give off the wrong impression. I think you almost put yourself into the bucket as just another weird pickup artist who's running the same shit, accusing every woman of being French. So, you know, mix up your locations. So yeah, maybe you just need to go to a quieter location. So maybe you can go to a park, or maybe you can go out during the week when it's not as busy, and then you can hit it again, right? But celebrate your wins. And I think another really powerful mindset is never be at home. Okay, so understand you're only going to improve your social abilities by putting yourself into environments where social activities are more likely to flourish. Now, something that I've noticed with a lot of guys who want to learn this skill is they're not getting enough social interaction throughout their daily lives. And the problem then becomes cold approach becomes their only way of getting all of their needs met. So cold approach becomes a way of getting their social needs met, their romantic needs met, their emotional needs met. That's the wrong way to use cold approach. Cold approach should be a complement to an already abundant lifestyle. And that's why I say to you boys, learn day game, but for fuck's sake, don't become a day gamer. The guy who all he knows is going around the street, talking to women, chasing women, and that's his life for the next 2, 3, 4 years. No, have a obsession period, yes, where you go hard, you learn the skill. But for me, the whole point of mastering this skill is so you can forget about the skill. It's to get to a point where you can act on immediacy, where you can approach on autopilot, where you can integrate this skill into your life. So when you walk into the gym, when you're going to go and return a pair of jeans to Zara and a woman catches your eye, you're always on. Does that make sense? That's the whole point of getting these reps in. It's like you do the immersion and then you can focus on integration. That's what Efrem did. Like the guy that I worked with in Warsaw last year. He did all of his reps with me, went back home to San Francisco, and he's able now to just approach on autopilot, getting multiple dates a week, more high quality options, and he knows what to do with. We've made loads of videos together, just on Kristian, Kasanovian, Efrem. You can watch our conversations. There's a link below, by the way. I've put some of my client experiences down there so you can see firsthand of what it's like to actually work with me. And yeah, these are guys that I took from absolute beginners to certified dating gods. So yeah, don't just take my word for it. Evidence got the loudest voice. You can go listen to those interviews because I think they'll inspire, because you'll probably be able to see yourself in some of these guys. So yeah, hopefully that's inspiring. But never be at home. Yeah, and I think if all you're doing at the moment is going to work, going home, watching Netflix, not doing that much else, then cold approach is going to seem a lot more difficult for you. So never be at home. Whether that's just going for more walks, that's just a super simple thing that anybody can do. Like, you've always got a spare 20 minutes in your day where, rather than just sitting at home and watching videos, you can go outside, you can go for a walk. And then the beautiful thing is, okay, let me give you a really practical, battle-tested blueprint for crescendoing your way towards confidence. This is really powerful, so listen to this. Okay, so let's just say that you are the biggest socially anxious mess right now, right? Let's just say you're a socially anxious goofball, like I used to be, and you hate yourself, you hate your life, you don't feel like anything's going to change, right? What we're going to do is we're going to stack wins slowly, okay? So your first exercise would be, right, first of all, go for a walk, okay? Never be at home. Get out the house, okay? Now you're outside. The first exercise is start walking. Congratulations, you're walking. That's good. Now, the exercise after that is simply you start making eye contact with people. It doesn't even need to be women at the start. Just start making eye contact with people. And that's going to turn you into an active player rather than a static spectator. Because most guys, they walk outside and their eyes are pointed at the floor, like they're trying to look for dollars. Like, don't do that, because otherwise you're going to get into the habit of never making eye contact with people. So you walk outside and just start making eye contact with people. You don't need to be having a staring competition, but just force yourself to start making eye contact. And then once you've done that 3 times, then you can start making eye contact with women. Okay, so they don't need to be attractive women, but just start making eye contact with women to start to diminish your fear of the feminine, to start to diminish your fear of being seen. And then once you start to get comfortable at that, now you can start making eye contact with women who you do find attractive. Okay, again, hold the gaze, allow her to be the one to break it, and then do that with 3 more women. And then the next time you can make the eye contact with a woman who you find attractive, and then you can give a smile, right? So eye contact plus smile. That's nice. Now you're starting to feel more confident because belief follows action. And then the next time that you do it, you can make the eye contact, you can give a smile, and you can say, hi. Right? So you've started off, you've gone outside, you started to walk. You don't have to do it all in the same day. I mean, you can do if you want to, but we're just building ourselves up gradually. And then now you're at the place where, so you've gone outside, you're starting to walk, you start making eye contact with anybody, then you start making eye contact with women. You don't need to be absolute worldies. Then you start making contact with women who you actually find attractive. Then you make the eye contact, then you smile, and then you say hi. And then the final thing would be make eye contact with a beautiful woman as she walks past you. Give her a smile, say hello, and then if you get the impression she looks relatively friendly, then just circle back and just say, hey, excuse me, like just one moment. I have to say, you look amazing. Have a good day. Boom, you've done it. You've just crescendoed your way towards confidence. And the best part of this is you haven't needed to learn a line. You've not needed to learn routines. You've not had to vibe stack or has she hooked yet. You've just had to show up as your most authentic self. That's it. That's all you need to do. All right, so just stop consuming all this mindless content online. Oh, I need to be a high value man. Oh, men go their own way. Oh, modern relationships, they're all fucked. It's like, dude, I don't know what you've been watching. I don't know what you've been smoking, but from my perspective, the internet makes the world way worse than it actually is. I think most people today, they're living online. They're living on cloud cuckoo land. It's like, get outside, spend time with people. The world is not a bad fucking place. Like, inside of our group, the Entourage, we've got guys going on multiple dates a week with women that they once thought were out of their league. We've got guys in their 50s who are in relationships with 25-year-olds. It's like, what world are people living in? The world of the internet, usually. All this fear-mongering, like, oh, you can't attract women unless you're this. It's like, dude, get off the internet, go outside, start smiling at people, start being the reason people smile, start being the reason that people have a better day. Go out to give. Right, go out with that mindset of, what can I give? Who am I? What do I want? And what can I give? If you can become a source of pleasure, rather than going out there and thinking, what can I take from these women? What can I get? Right? Rather than having that perspective, go out there with a genuine desire to make these women feel amazing, make them feel beautiful, because a rising tide lifts all the boats. So rather than ruminating in your own egoic self-absorption, thinking that you're an unlovable piece of shit, you're going out there to give, right? You're going out there with the mindset to give, right? Women want to feel beautiful. Men want to feel powerful. Everybody wants to feel important. And one of the best ways you can make people feel important is to make them feel witnessed. And especially with women, you make them feel witnessed by being a witness to their beauty. Like, hey, listen, you look amazing. All right, so just getting into the habit of being approachable yourself as well. So don't go outside being on your phone, like hunched over, like fucking Quasimodo. Like, leave your phone at home. Just, you don't even need a phone. Oh yeah, but what about getting phone numbers? It's like, dude, you're not even on that stage yet. You're not even getting fucking phone. Forget about phone numbers. If she's got a phone, you can put your digits into her phone. But again, you're thinking too many steps ahead. And also, you're just giving yourself reason not to do it. Just leave your phone at home. Go out for a walk for 20 minutes. Do the eye contact drill. Start smiling at people. And then when you find a woman, you think, yeah, do you know what? She's nice. She looks friendly. Just swivel around. You don't even need to like try and stop her. You can just literally, if she's like this and you're walking and she's gone past you can just swivel around and just say, oh, excuse me. Oi, I just need to say, you look amazing. And you put a smile on my face. And then if you get the impression that she's down for a conversation, then you can bridge the gap. Then you can get closer. Like, dude, that's as like supernatural as it gets. Like, that's just like pure natural conversation. You're not doing any of this like, oh, excuse me, you look French. What I noticed about you was, oh, when I think about France, I think about you outside the Eiffel Tower with a baguette under your arm. She's like, yeah, 8 guys have already said this to me today. Thanks, bye. Yeah, dude, like, stop following content which was made 10 years ago. Stop following people online who quite frankly have no idea what they're talking about. It's like, you know, putting videos out online being like, oh, well, you know, you can download my course now. It's $495 and that'll teach you how to overcome your approach anxiety. So I've already told you how to overcome your approach anxiety. You don't need a fucking course. All my courses are free. So you can get my courses. They're all free. They're below. I've just uploaded a 10-hour course for free onto YouTube because I understand information is not what you need. It's implementation. Right? You can watch a million videos on how to get a six-pack, but until you actually show up to the gym, you get yourself a personal trainer who can hold you accountable, who can give you that kick up the arse. It's all just wanking in the wind, right? Everybody wants to get a six-pack. How many people have actually got a six-pack who want one? Not a lot, because it's not the information, it's the implementation, okay? So, yeah, you don't need any more information, especially if you've been following my content for the best part of a year. If nothing's changed, then you don't need more information. You just need to stop watching these videos, get out there into the field and start prioritizing behavior over belief. Like, even if you don't feel as though you're good enough right now, I didn't think I was good enough 4 years ago. Like, have you seen me in that first infield video that I made in Leeds? We were cackling about it in the Entourage group coaching call on Sunday. Me out there with a weird Jack Grealish hair, wearing the anorak with the shorts and the fluorescent orange trainers. Dude, like, I was a walking car crash, but I was just like, fuck it. You know, in 100 years, none of this is going to matter. So, yeah, listen, I hope that this has been useful for you boys. Drop the video a like if you've enjoyed it. I make these live streams every single day. If you've got any things that you would like me to discuss, any topics or any concerns or questions, maybe you've gone out there and maybe you experienced something that I've not spoke about yet, so maybe you've got like a very nuanced sticking point. I don't know what that is because I don't know you personally, but if you have anything that you would like me to discuss on these live streams, then just leave it in the comments below. I'm more than happy to dedicate a live stream to your specific questions, and then yeah, hopefully that's been helpful for you. I think that was useful. I think that was good. I'm happy with that one. It's good. But yeah, drop the live stream a like if you've enjoyed it. I think that's everything. Yeah, there's courses below, there's client interviews below. I've dropped a 10-hour course, so hopefully all that shit's useful for you boys. And yeah, I will speak with you tomorrow. All right, love you. Bye.